It started with a scream. Not a loud one, but the kind that cut straight through the noise of a crowded emergency ward. A small boy, barely 5 years old, lay on a gurney, his chest rising and falling like a machine on the verge of shutting down. Monitors beeped like nervous heartbeats, each sound a reminder that time was running out. Doctors and nurses moved in a blur, sweat shining on their foreheads under the harsh fluorescent lights. There was no ventilator left. Every machine in the hospital had already been claimed. A nurse grabbed a manual resuscitation bag, her hands squeezing rhythmically, fighting to keep oxygen flowing into tiny lungs. Minutes turned into hours. The room, once loud with chaos, grew quiet except for the hiss of air and the soft grunt of exhausted hands. 4 hours. That's how long they kept going. 4 hours before human strength began to fail. And then it happened. The kind of mistake no one talks about in public. Hands grew weak. A rhythm faltered. A breath missed its beat. A young boy's life hung on a thin, fragile thread. I watched from the corner of the room, my heart pounding, my own hands trembling from fatigue. I was a doctor, trained to save lives, but in that moment, I felt helpless. Not because of lack of knowledge, but because the human body has limits. The cruel irony was unbearable. The science to keep this child alive existed, yet a simple lack of machines meant we might lose him anyway. That night, as the sun threatened to rise over the city, an idea took root. Quiet, almost ridiculous in its simplicity. What if a small device could do what exhausted hands could not? What if a machine could safely squeeze that bag, keep oxygen flowing, and give doctors back their most valuable resource? Time. I sketched it in the margins of my patient charts. Rough lines, childish drawings, a box with a lever, a battery, a soft mechanical hand to keep breathing when human hands couldn't. I didn't tell anyone at first. The idea felt too fragile, too absurd. In a place where resources were scarce and every penny counted, who would fund a doctor's half-awake dream? But eventually I told someone. I told the hospital director. He laughed. Not the polite chuckle of someone humoring a bad idea. A real, belly-deep laugh, the kind that dismisses a person as much as their thought. "Doctor," he said, "we're here to treat patients, not build toys. Do you think you're the first person to imagine a clever gadget in the middle of the night? Medicine is serious work. Leave the tinkering to engineers." And that was it. A door closed, a seed crushed under the heel of authority. But some seeds grow in the dark. What he didn't know, what no one in that building could have guessed, was that the very toy he mocked would become the silent guardian in emergency rooms across the country. That the invention laughed out of one hospital would one day hum quietly at the bedside of thousands of patients, each breath a quiet reminder that sometimes the world's most powerful tools begin as someone's most embarrassing idea. Before we go any further, let me pause to ask you something. If stories like this inspire you, if you believe in the quiet, relentless power of human imagination, take a second to subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss what comes next, because the story you're about to hear isn't just about saving lives. It's about fighting through ridicule, standing alone when everyone says you're wasting your time, and proving that sometimes the impossible isn't impossible at all.